The market's stable with almost 0.5% gains, led by an up move in ICICI Bank and Reliance. TCS remains the big drag. The mid-cap index seals a mild outperformance.
Ashok Leyland rebounds from lows after the company announces a 9-day shutdown at their Pantnagar plant. Tata Motors extends gains on optimism around the continued improvement in JLR sales.
Slowdown blues get worse. A disappointing WPI reading is followed up by a 10% fall in imports and exports. Economists say a rate cut at the next MPC meet is a given. The Federation of Indian Export Organization blames the weak export data on delayed GST refunds and a liquidity crunch.
Bag of woes for cotton producers. Cotton Association of India says weak monsoons to impact crop production this year. Nitin Spinner says uncompetitive pricing of Indian cotton may lead to widespread shutdown of mills.
Hi guys, good afternoon. You're watching Business Lunch. I'm Sonia Shenoy and with me is Mangala Malu. Things are looking pretty good. In fact, upbeat now. The Sensex, Nifty, Midcap are all in the green. And at the high point, 11,650 is something that the Nifty is approaching, led by, surprise, surprise, Yes Bank. Ahead of its numbers tomorrow, the stock is up almost 7%. Tata Motors doing pretty well. So looks like the day, at least up until now, belongs to the bulls.
Absolutely. And even the mid-cap index, I was looking at a couple of these stocks. The screen looks good out there as well. Jubilant Foodworks, it's lunchtime. Yes, we're hungry, but Jubilant Foodworks up 5% as we speak. Manappuram doing fairly well as well. DLF at the high point of the day. And we have Escorts and Ashok Leyland. Both of them have recovered from the lows. In fact, Escorts is at the high point of the day, and Ashok Leyland has recovered about 4.5% from the lows of the day as well. So let's go straight to the stocks in news this morning, or rather this afternoon. We have Tata Motors up 9% in 4 days after JLR sales have improved.
And Ashok Leyland actually recovers from the lows, trading in the green now, but Pantnagar unit has shut down for 9 days.
Yes Bank, that's a stock up 7% ahead of earnings tomorrow.
And M&M is down as CLSA has downgraded the stock to a sell, cut the target price to 590 rupees.
All right, so let's take it straight to our topmost story. Tata Motors, the stock up 5% as we speak, among the top Nifty gainers today, up for the 4th consecutive day. Sonia, 4 days running optimism over JLR?
Absolutely. So the numbers that we got for Jaguar Land Rover for the month of June have indicated that there is a month-on-month pickup in sales. And not just that, the most important vertical for them, which is China, there's been a 23% month-on-month improvement between the sales in May and June. So that is the reason why for 4 straight days running now, Tata Motors is up. It's gained 9%. Not just that, if you look at the graph will come up for you. 47,000 units is what we saw in June compared to 42,000 in May and 39,000 April. So it's the second consecutive month of an improvement that we've seen. Not just China, but UK has recovered as well. So about a 4.6% growth is what we saw in the UK market. So both UK and China are on a recovery path. And the management says that the growth is aided by higher sales of the new Range Rover Evoque, the Land Rover Discovery, Jaguar I-Pace and the new Jaguar XE as well. But it is a trading pop, remember. We need to still see a couple of more months of data to come to a conclusion that things have picked up.
Absolutely, more than a trading, for it to be more than just a trading pop, we'll have to see conclusive data. But what would you make of Ashok Leyland? They've announced another shutdown at Pantnagar?
Well, yes, now for Ashok Leyland, just want to put on board that this is not new data. There was a partial shutdown that they had announced from the 11th to 15th of July. Now this is a complete shutdown that they'll undertake from 16th to 24th of July. This is the second time in 2 months they are shutting down completely. There was a 6-day shutdown in the month of June as well. All of this is because of weak demand, so they're trying to align it to the inventory, etc. But if you look at what brokerages have made, Jefferies came out with a note where they've downgraded Eicher Motors. They remain underweight on Ashok Leyland. They say that the MHCV down cycle can be very painful even here on, with a 20% volume decline is what they're factoring in. And they talk about how there is a risk now of muted pre-buying ahead of the BS6 transition. Remember, that was the only trigger that could really take the sales higher. But now they're saying that there is a muted pre-buying expected there as well. But the stock, however, has recovered from the day's lows.
All right, that's about Ashok Leyland. Interestingly, pull up Motherson Sumi from the mid-cap, and you're seeing a sharp decline on Motherson Sumi. Most of that coming by in just the last few minutes. There you have it. It's at the low point of the day. So we'll keep an eye out on how things are panning out there. And along with that, we're seeing a bit of a decline in Piramal Enterprises as well. So that stock too is at the low point of the day. But we'll stick to the pharmaceutical space now. We'll talk about that. That one has been outperforming over the last couple of trading sessions. Dishman is the stock on our radar as the phase 3 data from the pharma major GSK's ovarian cancer drug is positive. Dishman stands to benefit as it is expected to be the contract manufacturer of the drug. For more, Ekta is here. Ekta.
Thanks for that. Well, I'll start with the background with regards to Dishman and this particular connection with this ovarian cancer drug by GSK, which is Zejula, or the generic name is Niraparib. Now, basically, Dishman is the contract manufacturer of this particular drug, which is already sold in the US. So they're still already generating sales by selling the API or supplying the product to GSK for this particular drug. Now, GSK is basically studying this drug for a second indication, which is basically the first line maintenance therapy for ovarian cancer patients. So that is the phase 3 data which has come out in the US and is positive in terms of the phase 3 data. So there is an indication that maybe there could be an approval for this indication soon enough, and Dishman would be or would continue to be the API supplier to GSK for this particular drug. Now remember that according to analyst estimates, the revenue from this second indication could then result in the API sales from this particular drug to rise maybe even 2 times for Dishman, which would then be the big positive for them.
All right, Ekta, thanks a lot for that. Well, moving on, the Indian agrochemical companies are in focus today as well, as Adama, the leading crop protection company, provides an estimate of a net income for the first half of the calendar year. Let's find out more. Sonal joins in to explain the fine print to us. Sonal, over to you.
Good afternoon, Sonia. Well, Adama has come up with estimates for net income for first half of calendar year 19, and the numbers do not look so good. In fact, they expect a decline in revenues. That is because lower plantation because of adverse weather conditions, and also because of reduced crop protection applications in many parts of the world. So in terms of constant currency, the revenues are expected to be flat on a YOY basis. However, they are expecting some decline on a YOY basis for the dollar revenue. So they are saying that flooding in North America and extreme dry weather in Europe and Asia Pacific is something that will impact their performance. So they've also given an adjusted EBITDA number. They expect it to be lower by $9 million to $19 million on a YOY basis. In terms of profitability, they expect it to reduce to $123 to $130 million versus the $160 million levels that they saw in the year gone by. However, on the flip side, they also say that there is strong traction coming in from the Chinese, Indian and the Middle Eastern markets, and also they expect the second half of the calendar year to improve. That is because of additional capacities coming up. How does it impact the Indian agrochemical companies? That is because UPL has the maximum exposure to North American markets. They have around 18% of revenues coming from there. From the European markets, they have an exposure of around 14%, and this has increased after Arusta acquisition. So that stock will definitely be impacted. Apart from that, Sharda Cropchem also, that company has around 47% of their total revenues coming in from Europe. So if there is some weakness seen in those markets, it will impact the businesses of these Indian agrochemical companies as well. Back to you.
All right, Sonal, that's why perhaps UPL and Sharda Cropchem, both of them are in the red, but you have a whole host of other buzzing stocks that you're tracking as well?
Absolutely, Mangalam. Let me start with Jubilant Life. Well, the company has increased the prices of vitamin B3 by around 10%. That would mean an increase in profitability by around 15 to 17%, 17 crores, and that would increase the profits by around 2% on a YOY basis. Aditya Birla Fashion, well, they have acquired 51% stake in Finesse International Design. They have paid around 60 crores for this acquisition for a company that has annual revenues of around 30 crore rupees, and also currently the company trades at around 2 times FY19 sales. So it will be interesting to see how this acquisition really pans out. Moving on, Cipla, another pharma company that has forayed into the Chinese markets. Now they will be entering into a joint venture with Jiangsu Ace Bright Pharma to set up a joint venture in China. They will be investing close to $30 million in total, and 80% of the stake will be held by Cipla. Brigade Enterprises, we did speak to the management as well. They issued bonus in the ratio 1:2. Additionally, they will be issuing 14 lakh shares to warrants to the promoters for conversion at a later date, and it can be converted in a period of around 18 odd months. And post this conversion, the promoter stake will increase to 50%. Capacite Infra, well, they have a board meeting of the company on 19th of July for fundraising, which could also be via means of QIP. So we will watch out for that stock. And lastly, Tata Metallics, that stock is under quite a bit of pressure, has already lost around 20% in this year itself. That is because the numbers were not really good, the revenues have been flat, and the profitability also does not really look good. So that stock is also under some pressure. Back to you.
Okay, well, thanks a lot for that, Sonal. So that's a lowdown on all of these stocks. But let's take a quick break. Up next, the big headline: the Bombay High Court has quashed the CRZ clearances for the Mumbai Coastal Road project. More on that when we return.